Okay, welcome guys to tonight's training. I am really excited about this because everything I'm going to be talking about tonight ultimately is like the fundamentals of our business, how we grow our business. I'm going to be going over a lot of details, so make sure that you guys have something to write this down. And if I'm going too fast, just know it's recorded because there's a lot of like samples I'm going to be giving you guys. But you can write it down when you listen to the recording later if I'm going too fast because I don't want to take forever. So I also want you guys to know right now, so this is the 4th year I've been in business. This is the boom time. This is the crazy momentum. I mean, honestly, it's so exciting to the point that you, in a few weeks, you're not even going to know what to do because your business will be exploding that much. But if you're not going to be doing these things I'm going to go over the next 21 days, then you really will not even experience half the momentum of those that are doing these things on a daily basis. So make sure that you are doing these things, that you're working harder than you've ever worked before, because that's why it will pay off after conference. When they announce crazy bonuses, new product, when they're announcing promotions, they're going to announce some type of new promotion that they've never done before. That's why they've been pushing us to get 4 new loyal customers this month. It has something to do with that. So do make sure that you get your 4 brand new loyal customers that are eligible. Eligible means that they're not sharing an address with anyone else. It can't be another loyal customer and it can't be another distributor. So that's what makes them an eligible customer. Also, they have to be a loyal customer. A retail customer does not count. So make sure that you do that at least this month before the end of January. But really, guys, you just have to go at this business like you've never done before. Okay, like ultimately, that's all I'm going to tell you guys, because what is about to happen, I can't even put into words. It's that crazy, the crazy boom. Last year, I remember just in my volume, it grew like 250,000 in 1 month. And I know I've been in for a little while, but if you guys can just think for your own business, what this is going to do for you. One of my distributors on here, Andrea, she went to conference as an executive, guys. And if I say this wrong, Andrea, let me know. Was it 2 months? Yes, I think it was. Within 2 months, she was a double diamond. Okay, so that's just giving you guys one little small example. She was the only distributor that I had that went to conference that year. I had just had my baby, Milo. This was back when I had first got started. So I didn't go. And I had one distributor go to conference. And it was Andrea. She goes. She's an executive. She comes back as a double diamond. Okay, so I'm just so excited for all of you because you might think that these goals are going to take you the whole year to reach, but really, if you just start knocking at it right now, I promise it's going to pay off so much quicker than you can even imagine. Okay, so, okay, I wrote this down because I do want to do this. Before I get started, hold on. I am going to, I'm going to unmute you all for just 2 seconds. Okay, wait, Andrea says, her check went from $200 to $3,600 from January to March. Okay, guys, that's just showing you the possibilities of what is going to happen to all of you guys who are working hard. Okay, I'm going to unmute you all. Unmuted. I'm going to the gallery. Okay, hold on. Let me do this. Everyone, when I'm done saying this, just say hi, okay? I have you on my Instagram. Doing a live training with my team. Can everyone say hello? Hi. Okay, now, I do this. Let me get this back. Let me mute you all again. Okay. Sometime during tonight, while we're doing this, either take a picture or do some type of video. People like to see what you're doing. They want to see that you are communicating with, that you're a part of something. And so sometime tonight, take a picture of you on this Zoom. You can go to the different view where it shows like a whole bunch of people, like the gallery view. But really, anytime you're doing something like this is just like one random tip I wanted to share tonight. Show people what you're a part of, what you're doing, because a lot of people want to join businesses like this, not even for the money, but to be a part of something or to have all these new friends. There's really all sorts of different reasons people get excited to join. So that's just one challenge for you guys tonight. Sometime do one of those two things. Okay, now let me just get started. Okay, guys, what I'm going to be sharing with you guys tonight first is we're going to go over a few different skills. Basically, how you're going to be finding new people to be talking to all the way to closing the deal. Those are like the number one questions that I get asked on a daily basis. It's either something to do with, I'm not sure how to word this, how do I close a deal, how do I get people to actually come to attend a party or come to one of our Zooms or something like that. So this is what we're going to be covering tonight. So the first thing that we want to talk about is how to find people to talk to. Who do you share this with? How do you have an endless list of people or potentials to share this business with? So this is a myth. Most people that join, actually almost every person that right when they join this business, they think that they think of potentials, like the people that they're going to talk to, as some type of natural resource. Like who you know right now determines if you'll be successful. Okay. I've shared this a lot with, a lot of you. I know there's a lot of new people on here, but a lot of people base the way they think they'll be successful or not is who they know right now. And that is such a myth, because I promise you 5% of the people that joined me out of the 100, I knew before this business. The rest of them I met after. Okay. So what you may not know, that networking, meeting new people, adding people to your list, meeting new contacts every day, that's a skill. So this is something that you guys are going to learn how to do. This isn't something that you probably came into this business already knowing how to do, because you never network marketed before, So this is a skill you're going to develop. I'm going to share with you guys some things that I've done. I'll show you, and just break this down a little bit better. But number one, the first thing you guys should be doing right now is have some type of active hundreds list. You can either print one off. We have them in our back office, in our eSuite. Click on the documents and you'll find the hundreds list. You can print that off. Or you can have some type of notebook. This is what I personally do. I have a notebook, okay? It's my never-ending list. This is all that I have. This whole notebook is just for writing new people down and adding. It's constantly growing. Every single day, it's constantly growing. Pages are about falling out of it because I always have this notebook out. The back half of it, I have this thing on it, and I just pulled it off, which I shouldn't have. But okay, the back half I've used for, this is when people are showing real interest. This can be they like to, or, I've been commenting back and forth with them about hair, skin, nails, or something. If they've shown some type of interest and they didn't sign up, I put them in my leads. So I have a leads in the back half of it, okay? And then I'll write down like the day that they reached out to me or that I reached out to them. And then I keep putting check marks as I follow up with them, which I'm going to get into what that looks like here. So this is like my never-ending list of leads, actual leads. This one is this whole front side is a new friends list. They're two different lists, okay? Your new friends list, your hundreds list should always be growing. It should be growing by a few every single day. And what I personally do, I'll show you guys an example. And I know a lot of you guys already know this tip. But one thing I do, I'm in a lot of Facebook group pages, a lot, like a ton. Facebook group pages that have nothing to do with the business. I'm in a lot of groups that are moms of multiples, twin moms, identical twin moms, boy moms. I'm in pages, DIY groups. I'm in home decor groups. Anything that I find interesting, I'll go and add myself to a group. And you can do that by just searching a group up here, like searching some type of topic. And then you slide over to where it says groups, click on that. And then you can find some groups and add yourself to them. So go and do that right now. This is, for me, the easiest way to meet new people because I can just be doing it while I'm sitting in my bed on my phone. Every day I try to, in at least 2 or 3 groups, I will make a post. And again, it has nothing to do with the business. It's me simply saying something that has to do with the topic of whatever category or the group is about. So if it's something about DIYs, maybe I'll share something that I've done, or I'll post something on Pinterest and say, has anyone attempted to do this? This looks like a fun project. It can be completely random things, you guys. I just try to start conversations in these groups on a daily basis. So if I'm doing this in 2 or 3 a day, which I make sure I do, I spend about 20 minutes building my network is what I call. As people are commenting, I will like their comment, I'll respond to their comment, and I try to have some type of conversation within the group. Then I will go and start adding people. My goal is to add 5 new people minimum every single day. 5. Sometimes I'll add 10 or 15. Like if I'm getting like good conversations with a whole bunch of people, I will add 15 people, and that's a way better day. But I have made sure that this is something I do on a daily basis, guys. 20 minutes a day is so worth it, because that's how I've never run out of people to talk to. And again, as I add them on my friends list, so here's the next thing I do. I'll write their name down. Once I've sent them a friend request, they've accepted it. Over the next few weeks, I have their name, and I have it either if I found them on Facebook or Instagram, so that way I know where I'm going to find them. The next thing I do is I will, over the next few weeks, go to their page. This takes seriously 5 seconds. Go to their page. If they've posted something that day, I like it and I'll comment on it. This keeps me active in their newsfeed. It builds it builds more trust. It builds a stronger friendship. And guys, if you're doing this for weeks and weeks at a time, before you know it, you won't even have to like look their name up. They'll be in your newsfeed all the time, but you will be like, oh, you'll really feel like you have a genuine friendship with these people. And a lot of the leaders on my team, this is how we met. We started forming relationships either off Instagram or off through a Facebook group is how I met them. Kelsey Guernsey, she is a triple diamond on my team. I met her in a Facebook group, and we related on a whole bunch of levels. We became really, honestly, like genuine friends, and it came to the point where she saw me posting about this Ruby bonus, and she's like, okay, what is this Ruby bonus all about? I want to make some extra income, but that would be awesome to like earn that. Her goal was just $500, guys, and now she's a triple diamond, earning an average of $10,000 a month. How cool is that? But that's how I met her, was through a Facebook group message, or not message, but a Facebook group. So I know, I'm so grateful we met too, Kelsey. So that is like one of my biggest tools when it comes to networking, and that's something we can't avoid. We cannot skip that step. It's one of the very most important steps, is constantly growing your network. Guys, if you just found 5 new friends a day over 1 year, that's 1,825 new people. And I promise you, you will find several leaders in that time frame. You will find several people who have leadership qualities that after following you and you guys building relationships, they're going to want to know what it is you're doing. They're going to want to know, what are these products you talk about? I promise, out of 1,800 people, you only need 240 people total for ambassador. And meeting 800 or 1,800 people, I promise you'll have a booming team if you actually stick with this. In 5 years, if you look at this business as a 5-year game plan, in 5 years, that's 9,125 new contacts. Holy cow, that's insane. That's just like mind-blowing, honestly. If you just did this simple thing every day, 20 minutes, just promise yourself you're going to do this for 20 minutes. And honestly, again, you get them added. Your first goal should never be, I just want to sell them on something. I want them to be my distributor. I want them to be my customer. Your goal with this is just simply to build relationships. If you come across that way, they're going to know, and they're going to be like, oh, she really just like, she's just like being a good friend. She hasn't even, it's been like 4 days and she hasn't even messaged me about joining the business. And I see her posting about it. That's what's going to make them way more curious. If they start liking your posts about the business, and they're liking your stuff about and commenting, that gives you the green light, guys. If they're the ones reaching out to you in any way like that, like, okay, I'm liking these posts that you're posting about growing an income, that gives you I always say that's the green light to go ahead and send them the message of inviting, which is the next thing we're going to go into. Okay. So the first thing is growing your network, finding new potentials, finding new prospects. It all starts with this. Obviously, guys, also get out in the real world. You know, if you, I'm a part of a mom's group. We meet every Tuesday, and you can even set one up yourself in your hometown. If you can't find one, create a mom's group, and we meet together on Tuesdays. And I have talked about the business with several of them because they've asked. But you know, I just started doing this like 2 weeks ago, and it's been awesome. Join a gym, go do something, join something, so you're out there meeting real people too, because that'll step up your business that much faster. Okay, now I have so many notes, so don't mind me as I'm trying to, and they're all over the place. They're like not in any order. Okay, so the next thing is inviting those who are on our push page. That is what we've been doing the whole last 10 days. And now we're kind of into the follow-up station. But you guys, you'll always be inviting. And honestly, I feel like you should be inviting people to look to this business opportunity a few times a day. Like a few people you should be inviting every single day. So there's a ton of tips when it comes to the skill of inviting and different approaches to take. And I can even give you a million different samples of like the very first time you reach out to someone. What do I say? Like, how can I approach this person? But I have those all saved. If you're in our 30 push page or 30-day push page, I typed them up yesterday and they're in the page. On our team page, if you go to our files, at the top of the page, if you go to our files and click on the documents, it's like just a few down, it says the skill of inviting. If you open that, there are a ton. I mean, it's literally like this long, a list of different approaches, very successful ones that have worked for me personally and worked for so many other people. Tons of tips that way. So I want you guys to take a look at that tonight. And then that way I don't have to sit there and read them all to you as you're trying to hurry and scribble them down. So that's what I want you guys to do tonight. But basically, my biggest tip with you when it comes to inviting someone to learn more about this business is to emotionally detach yourself from the outcome, okay? Our job or our duty, honestly, as a distributor for this company, is to simply educate people on what this business is about, what the products are about. Our goal is not even really to sell people on it. The products sell themselves, the opportunity sells itself. Our job is to just educate people so they have a better understanding on that there is another way to earn an income, that there are other products that maybe they could take besides ones that are harmful. So, you know, it's really just about understanding. Now, what I like to do, the very first thing that you guys should always be inviting people to, so if it's a potential distributor, you want to invite them to either an opportunity call, if we have one like that night, or within the next few days, which, by the way, I do want you guys to know, once conference is going, I think we'll be having something like this every single night so that people can attend live, because I know it's like in way high demand right after conference. So you can invite them onto, hey, you know, what are you doing tonight at 8 o'clock? Do you have time to get on this Zoom with us so you can hear more about this business opportunity? Invite them to either something live, invite them to an online party, invite them to a wrap party like in person, a one-on-one, or if there isn't something going on like that night, you can invite them to watch a recorded webinar. And I use those tools all the time. I used one tonight. I had someone reach out to me and ask, you know, I just want some more information. And I'm going to read to you guys what I said, because this is all within the following up and the closing the deal. But anyway, I'm getting myself distracted. So, okay, always be inviting. Honestly, guys, millions of people out there are looking for this opportunity or an opportunity like this. They just don't even know it exists. And I know I've shared that with you guys with my personal story. I didn't know there was a way to really make income from home. And so our job is to just invite people, always be inviting people to, hey, you know, have you ever been interested in earning an extra income from home? I would love to show you what I'm doing. I'd love to show you how I'm making extra income or whatever. In that inviting skill document, you'll read a whole bunch of different approaches that you can take and messages that you can send. So, Okay, one of my very favorite scenarios, Kelsey gave this scenario the other night in one of our trainings. It's the example of if you had 500 rocks, 500 pebbles, okay? And someone told you there's $1 million under one of those pebbles. You just have to find it. You would be flipping those pebbles over. I mean, you would do it in 5 seconds. I know it because, there's $1 million under one of these pebbles. You would not, and in parallel to this, it's with our business. Under one of those rocks is a future ambassador on your team, someone who's been praying for a business opportunity like this. And so it'd be really dumb to flip over 2 and say, I give up. 2 people weren't interested. Obviously no one is interested in this business. No, you would be flipping over, guys, if you knew there was someone out there, and there is someone out there, and there is someone that is wanting this business opportunity. And so don't give up after flipping 3 rocks over. And honestly, if you had 500 sitting there, you would probably find a lot more than just 1 million. You would find a whole bunch of rock stars that are just waiting for something like this. And it's your job to introduce it to them. Okay. So now here's another huge tip, you guys. This is like a golden tip, honestly, because it's changed my business a lot. For some reason on Facebook Messenger, I don't have the voice recording, and I don't know why. I was like sending this to my leaders. I'm like, okay, I screenshot it. I'm like, where is it on my phone? I don't see it. But when I'm texting people, I can voice message. So if you guys start voice messaging your responses, I promise your closing rate will skyrocket, because when they can hear excitement and passion, if they text you a question and you respond with a voice message, I promise you guys, holy cow, this is going to be a game changer for you. Okay, so start voice messaging on Facebook. If you have the little microphone, which I don't have, and I'll figure out why, because it'd be very nice if I did. But I usually end up getting their phone number anyway, and I'll text them and send them voice messages that way. But okay, the next thing, after inviting, you're inviting people to do this, you're inviting people to look more into this business, following up. And I know you've heard this a million times, the fortunes and the follow-up, but I say it all the time because it's true. 90% of people who join this industry, who are involved in network marketing, don't follow up. They'll talk to someone one time, and if they don't sign up on the first time they talk, they move on to the next person. And that is why, guys, only 10% of people in this business are insanely successful, is because they take the time to follow up. And honestly, I think the whole key here is just having some type of notebook to write potentials' names down. When someone is any semi-interested in anything, and you write, their name, the date that you guys talked last, if you really keep a real list of this, because I promise you will forget so fast who was interested. And when I go through my list, this is just for January, and I have 4 pages of January potentials. And a few of them have signed up. I put a little X if they have. And other than that, I keep writing check marks with dates that I've been communicating with them back and forth. But I literally have a whole hair, skin, nails list just from one post, 6 people, and then I'll also write where I found them. So Facebook or Instagram, whatever. So I know where I'm following up with them. So guys, fortunes in the follow-up. Also, I can tell you that 95% of my loyal customers and distributors came from following up with them, but anywhere between 2 and 15 times. Okay. The average is somewhere between 3 and 7, but 2 to 15 times is how many times I've had to follow up with average people, the average person. And honestly, this is across the board in sales, across the board, it takes the average person 7 times of being exposed to something before they'll want it. You can see that Big Mac on a billboard 7 times before you'll actually go to McDonald's and order the Big Mac. It's the same in this business. So it's not anything wrong with you if they didn't sign up on the first, second, or third exposure. That's just across the board. People need to be exposed that many times before they are sold on whatever it is, whether it's a product or the business opportunity. So, okay. Now, these are a few tips I have when it comes to following up with people. Okay, I have like numbers written down next to them, and there's four. Okay, 3, I don't know. So here's tip number 1. End your conversations stating when you're going to follow up with them. Now, here is an example of this, okay? So tonight, a girl reached out, well, I've been talking to her. She said, I want to, do you have like something I could watch or a call or something like that that will give you more information on the business? And I was like, yes. I actually have a recorded webinar that I go over all this information. And I said, would you have time tonight to watch it if I send it over? It's 30 minutes long. She's like, yes, I have time tonight to watch it. So I sent her the link and I said, I will follow up with you between 9 and 9:15 tonight. Okay. So if by you doing that, it's holding you accountable, number 1. You're telling them, I'm going to follow up with you at this time. It holds them accountable because they're like, well, she's going to message me at 9:15, so I better hurry and watch this. Okay, so another key here is just make sure that you are the man or the woman of your word. You know, if you respond at that time, they're going to know that they can count on you, honestly, if you know. So it just makes you look more like a professional than when you don't do this. It leaves this whole open-ended, like, when should I follow up with them? And there are rules like the 2x2x2 rule, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months that you can stick to. But if you give them a specific time, they're way more likely to watch it. And then you have no issue feeling bad that you're going to follow up. You can write it down in your planner. You have to follow up with this person at 9 o'clock. So now the second thing, I want you guys to realize that the whole purpose, if you look at it this way, the whole purpose of you sending that video or the whole purpose of that first exposure, getting them on a call or something, is to set up the next one. If you go into it thinking that instead of expecting them to like, I better sign them after they've watched that video, or I better sign them after they get off that call. If you're expecting that, then you're going to, I don't know, I just feel like you have like all this extra weight on your shoulders and you're going to be like super bummed. If instead you look at it as, I'm ready for them, I'm going to set up the next exposure. And whether that, you know, because honestly, you want them to be as educated as possible. If they have questions or doubts, this is when you're going to start addressing those things. So now there are times, let's say that you follow up with them at 9 and you're like, hey, did you get a chance to watch that? And they say, well, no. Don't jump down their throat and say, well, you said you would, you know. And honestly, that happens a lot. So just make sure that you're not doing that. But, you know, if you just say like, it's totally fine. I understand life gets crazy busy. When do you think you'd be able to watch it? Ask them and just leave it at that. When do you think you'd be able to watch it? And then let them know again, okay, well, I'll follow up with you tomorrow at 3 o'clock then. Okay, so you can just continue this. And you guys don't have to feel dumb doing this. You're a professional. This is what your job is to, you know, this is our job. So just don't feel dumb doing that, you know. If they say yes, the worst thing we could possibly say is, what did you think? Because let me tell you why. When you ask that question, people naturally want to be critical. And so they'll tell you all the things that they're worried about, or they'll tell you all the things that they didn't like. If instead, the first question you ask them when they said, yes, I watched it, the first question you ask them is, what did you like best? This leads the conversation into a positive direction. So they're going to say, you know, they'll give you, you know, I like that you can own your own time, or I like that, you know, I understand how I can make $500 extra a month, or I like the whole freedom concept, or I like the products, whatever it is. This gives you clues as to what they're most excited about. And then this can honestly, their answers are guiding your conversation. And honestly, you just want to keep this conversation going. That is the whole point of continuing following up with these people. So asking them, what did you like best? And then they will, you know, this is just the best thing to ask them because it will lead this conversation into a positive direction. Then the next question would be, like on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you with wanting to get started? And honestly, if it's anything past a 1, that's great, because that means they have some type of interest in this business. And then, you know, if they're like, it's a 5, okay, well, what's holding you back? Why are you at a 5? this is where they're going to maybe tell you things they didn't tell you before, like, well, I just don't have the $99, or I'm just worried that I wouldn't be a good salesperson. This is where they're going to give you all their fears or their concerns. And so, or maybe it's even like, I need to talk to my husband. Okay, this is, you guys, this is when you're going to start setting up the next time you're going to talk. Whether it's going to be, you know what, let's meet up in person if they live somewhere close to you. Maybe they want to go over the compensation plan. Meet up with them. You can schedule some type of one-on-one call. You can schedule a Zoom or a three-way call with a leader if that's something that they need. So whatever it is, you're going to set up a time at this point when you're going to either send them more information or where you're going to connect with them or meet up with them. Honestly, guys, the difference between everything I just went over and sending them a video and just saying, let me know when you watched it. I swear every time I've done that, nothing becomes of it, because I'm kind of leaving the ball in their court. I'm waiting for them to come back to me, and the ball always needs to be in our court because we're the distributor, we're the professional, we're the person that is introducing this business to them, so we can't leave it up to them. Okay, now the fourth thing is to try to get these exposures or these appointments as close together as possible. If you're spreading them out like 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later you do something else and then 3 weeks later you get them on another call, it just makes them lose interest faster. If they're, actively communicating with you back and forth and they're watching these videos, if you can condense these like 4 exposures or whatever into a week or a week and a half, again, your chances of enrolling them go up so much higher because they're still in this excited stage. And I feel like every time, if you're waiting a huge gap between, all it's doing is it's being exposed for the first time every time. And so it just drags this whole thing out so much longer than it needs to be. So here's something else I want to go over. These are like questions and objections. These are the main things that I get. Everyone has concerns before they get started. Everyone has some type of doubt. But what I have realized is that objections, like, they usually fall into 2 different categories. One of the categories is they either have limiting beliefs in themselves. So it's either like, I don't think I'd be a good salesperson. I don't know enough people. I'm really shy. I'm not outgoing. Something along those lines. And then the second one would be limiting beliefs in the business. So they either think like they're still not familiar with this whole industry. They don't understand how this works, how you really can make income from doing this. They don't see it. Or, they're not sure that this is the answer to help them reach their goal, whatever their goal is. And so those are the 2 categories usually that I find potentials are falling into. They have limiting beliefs in one of those 2 things. And so the first concept to make them feel better, honestly, is to have empathy. And honestly, stories, it can be your story or it can be someone else's story, something that's relatable to that person so that you can say, you know what, I've been there. Like, you're scared that you don't know enough people. I had the same fear, but this is what I realized, and this is what's happened, and this is how I've turn that fear into, now I have endless amounts of people to talk to. If you guys will write this down, feel, felt, found. Okay, so if you write those 3 words down, basically you can, after they're giving you these objections or worried about something, if you can say, like, I know how you feel, something along the lines of like, I know how you feel, I felt the same way, blah, blah, blah. And then, but what I found was, and then you can just relate to them. If they can feel like they can relate to you or someone else in the business, it might not be you. If it's money that's holding them back and that was not a problem for you when you got started, you were able to join and you bought all these extra products and you had plenty of money, that wasn't the issue. Find someone in the business that had that same issue. The $99 for me was a huge issue. You can share my story. Say, you know what, one of my mentors had that same problem, but this is what happened. This is what she did. And so be relatable when people have, whatever they tell you their objection is, whatever is holding them back, find some way to be relatable to them. The whole, I don't have enough money objection. I'm just going to share this with you guys because this is a big one. This is one I feel like we run into a lot. So if you can relate to them, again, if you can't, then just share one of our stories. But if you can, this is like a sample, and this is kind of long, so you don't need to write this down. Maybe you can write it down after this. But this is an example of what I would say if they're like, you know what, really, it's just, I don't know how I'm going to come up with the $99. Me personally would say something like this. I had the same exact challenge. I didn't have enough money to pay my bills, let alone start a business. But when I put things into perspective, I realized if I didn't have enough money to pay my bills now, how is it going to change that in the future? And I was tired of being behind. I was tired of struggling and tired of stressing out all the time over bills. And I knew I wanted more out of life. So I found a way, to get that $99 because I knew this was going to change your life. And it was the best decision I ever made. And then if you end this with, if you really felt that this was something that could change your financial future, do you think you could find a way to make it happen? Something like that. And if they really do believe, if that was really the only thing holding them back, at this point, they will tell you, yes, I know I can find a way. I think the first thing I even want to do when someone's like, I don't have $99, the first thing we always want to do is like, I'm sure you spent that at the gas station this week, or say something critical, but I think if you can be empathetic, show you can relate somehow, or someone that has, I really think that that's the best way to approach the situation. Okay. So, objections about the business. These are like the main ones. I know if you guys have been in for even a couple weeks, you've heard maybe some of these things if you've been reaching out to people. Is this one of those things? Is this a MLM? Is this a pyramid scheme? Or how much money are you making? I got that question like the second day in. I was like, well, I haven't made $1 yet, or I had sold a wrap, so I made $25. But I'm going to give you guys some ideas of what you guys can say to these types of questions. So first thing, don't get defensive. It's really easy to be like, a pyramid scheme? Are you talking about corporate America? Everything's a pyramid, Here are some examples of what you guys can say. So first of all, questions like this, if someone gets defensive and they're like, wait, is this an MLM? Or is this one of those pyramid things? If they have some type of emotion when they ask you, like, wait a minute, is this an MLM? When you're inviting them to like listen to more information about it, if they have some type of emotion, it usually means that they've either been a part of one before, or they know someone who didn't make money. Okay, those are usually the ways. Otherwise, people, everyone else that hasn't like heard of this type of network marketing before, they almost feel like it's some type of get rich quick scheme, and they're like, I don't understand. So really, guys, just remember, our whole purpose is to just help people understand what this is. So if someone has some type of emotion in their voice when they're like, wait a minute, is this an MLM? Then the best thing to say is, okay, have you done something like this before? Or it sounds like you have a story. What's happened? Like, what were you a part of? Let them tell their story. Let them tell you, maybe they had the worst experience ever before, but let them tell you why they have some weird taste in their mouth for this type of industry. Okay. So here's a typical conversation, maybe that I've had anyway. So I'm talking to someone, inviting them to look more into this. And the second they say, wait, is this an MLM? That's when I'll say, like, wait a minute. It sounds like you have either been a part of something like this, or what do you know about it? What's your story? Whatever, something like that. And this is a very typical response. It's either, yeah, I joined one, I bought a bunch of product, and I never made money. That is really like usually what I hear. My dog is just roaming around back there. Don't mind him. Okay, so then I'll say, like, well, what do you think the reason was that you didn't have success? Why do you think you didn't have success with that company? And these are like the 4 things that I hear all the time is, well, my friend talked me into it, or I didn't have enough time to work the business, or I thought people would join me quicker, or I lost interest. Those are usually the responses. So then the best question after that is, do you really think you even gave that, or network marketing a fair shot? Did you even really give it a fair shot? Because without a doubt, they say, well, no. When they hear for themselves the reason they weren't successful, it was always, well, they honestly didn't even give it a shot. They found all these other excuses not to be successful. Well, this person talked me into doing it, so they didn't even really want to do it in the first place. And then I'll just say like, well, okay, then do you think that network marketing, like this industry, is the problem? Or do you think that maybe your timing just wasn't right? Because then honestly, you can take someone who was like so against the idea of even looking into this business to having a potential, to having someone who possibly, well, you know what, maybe it was just the bad timing for me, you know? So honestly, guys, it's just a matter of you asking questions. Just always be asking questions. Don't come off this as a sales pitch. Just, if you can always ask questions, I swear that's something else that'll be a game changer. Always be asking. So if someone asks if it's a pyramid scheme, honestly, the easiest answer for that is, of course not. I would never, pyramid schemes are illegal and I would never be a part of one. Also, pyramid schemes, just so you guys are aware, those are they are illegal. Those types of companies get shut down. It's a real thing. But typically what it is someone pays into something and there's no product involved. It's like they get a website or something like that. But when you're trading dollars for services, trading dollars for product, that is not a scheme, okay? So just so you guys know that, but if someone does come at you with, is this a pyramid scheme? Then just say, no, that's illegal. I would never be a part of something that's illegal. And then the whole, how much money are you making? Okay, when you're brand new, and honestly, this is what I would tell you guys to do no matter what anyway. When I was doing parties and I was standing in front of all these people at no rank, I maybe was like an executive, or actually I remember my first one, I hadn't promoted to anything. And so when I get to the page where I'm showing all these average income ranks, I remember feeling like, what do I even talk about right here? I know I can share someone else's story, but what I would suggest you guys do is always talk about what you're working on. So you could be brand new today, and if someone asks you, well, how much money are you making? Send them the income graph and say, I'm working right now. I'm building my diamond team. And by March 31st, I'm going to be a diamond. And by June, I'm going to be a double diamond. Always be talking into the future like that. Always be sharing what it is you're working on. When I did parties as a Ruby, I always pointed to the next rank. I was always pointing to diamond, and I was like, this is the rank I'm working on right now. I'm going to get a $10,000 bonus this month, and I'm so excited about it. And then I'm going to be working on my next one. And it just like, people were like, what? And then when I'm closing it out, and I'm asking who wants to be a part of this, who wants to be a part of my diamond team as I'm running. And so if you want to run with me, I would love to run with you, So also, if someone wants to, if they're like, well, I prefer to talk to someone, do you have a triple diamond I could talk to? Because when I look at that, that's where I want to be. Can I talk to a triple diamond? You guys, we're all here to help. We would all be willing to do 3-way calls, Zooms, whatever. You have so many people in your upline that will help you with any of these things. So do not hesitate to ask. If someone is like, the only thing holding me back is I want to talk to some people that have made $10,000 a month. I want to talk to some of those people. If that is their issue, please let us know, because I promise we will be happy to get on some type of webinar, a 3-way call, whatever, and talk with you and their potential, your potential. Okay, now closing the deal. These are the best, my favorite tools, honestly, when it comes to closing the deal. So, and again, it's just simply asking questions. You don't want to this does not have to be, you do not have to have any sales skills to do this. I honestly feel like being a salesperson could honestly hold you back, because all salespeople want to do is pitch, 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 when really we should be asking questions and acting more like consultants than a salesperson. So, okay, here's a sample. Once you've gone to the point with this potential that, you followed up with them a few times, they've answered, okay, honestly, there's nothing that's like holding me back. Here are the questions that I think that you should ask, because this is going to help you know what their real ultimate goal is, and if they have realistic goals, because I think that's important too. Some people jump into this thinking, okay, I'm looking at triple diamond. I want to hit that in like 3 months. but they're not even willing to work like an hour a week to do it. So this is where this really comes into play. So the first question you'd want to ask is something along the lines of like, based off everything we've talked about, what income would you need to be making with us on a part-time basis to make this like worth your while? How much income do you need to be making on, working at a part-time basis with us? And this is where, you can show them the income graph again, and they'll say, well, I need diamond income. That's what I need to work towards. And honestly, it doesn't matter what they say, but the reason you really want to ask this question is because you could have this whole time been trying to sell them on a $10,000 opportunity when they really only wanted a $500 or a $2,000. Every person you meet is going to be interested in something completely different. A different rank is what's going to stick out to them. And honestly, it could start out as 500. That's what it was for me. Honestly, I think if the girl approached me with the 10,000, it would have scared me way too bad. I would have not been interested. I was interested in the small number because I believed in myself that I could do that. So that's why I want to make sure that this is the first question you ask them is like, what's the income that you're looking to make? And then let's see. The once they tell you, let's say that they say like 2,000. Okay. The next thing you can say is perfect. How many hours per week would you be willing to put in, to work? Sorry, let me read this again. How many hours per week would you be willing to work to earn an extra $2,000 a month? This is where you're going to find if they're being realistic with themselves or with our compensation plan. So they could say, I'm willing to put in 8 hours. Let's say that's an example. 8 hours. I can work 8 hours a week. I know that I can work 8 hours a week. And then this is where you'll say, awesome. Okay, now how many months would you be willing to work at 8 hours a week to get to that goal? Because obviously you're not going to get there in 1 month of working just 8 hours total. You know what I mean? Or I guess that would be 8 times 4. But you need to find out how many months they're willing to put in those 8 hours to get to that diamond goal. Okay. So that's the next question you ask. And this is again, for someone, let's say they said, I need to be making $10,000 a month. I'm willing to work 2 hours a week and I better be there in 2 months. This is where, if they have unrealistic goals, you need to call them out on it. You need to let them know. It's way worse for you to be like, you know what, you can do it in 2 hours. Yes, we'll get you to 10,000. Honestly, the best thing for you to say right here would be, let them know that that's unrealistic, that they need to change either one of those three things. They either need to change the $10,000 goal, or they need to up their 2 hours, or they need to up their 2 months. It needs to be a lot longer than 2 months of them working 2 hours a week. Okay. So, honestly, just coach them into making realistic goals. So if that's not a realistic goal, let them know, you know what, honestly, if you want to go diamond this month, you need to probably put in this many hours. I'm being totally realistic with you. That's probably the amount of hours, but you can do it. I know you can do it. If you really put in these hours, you would get there. And so this is where, again, you're just kind of going back and forth, asking them their questions, what their goals are. And then the last one would be, okay, if I could show you how to make an extra $2,000 a month, working that 8 hours a week for this many months, and of course, you have to be coachable. They can't, they have to be willing to learn and develop as a person. Is there anything else you need to get started? And honestly, guys, 90% of the time, when you've gotten to this point, they will say, you know what, if I can make that happen, I'm ready to go. Because you let them create their own reality here. You let them. They're the ones that honestly, they gave you the game plan. Now it's just up to you. You guys are going to create some type of roadmap to make it happen. And this is where our steps of success come into play. And you guys, you don't know how lucky you are that we have this. Years ago, when I joined, they thankfully had the steps of success. But years ago, they did not have that. And so everyone was just running around in a cluster, not knowing, how do I train my team? What's the first goal I should have them do? What's the first step? And honestly, there was no system and there was no way to duplicate anything because there wasn't a steps of success in place. So make sure that is the foundation of what it is you're teaching these people. If it's diamond, they have to complete their steps and they have to help 3 people complete those steps. And then it's just a matter of, let's break it down into weekly goals, into daily goals, to get you to that goal. And now after going through all of this, you guys, I find a lot of the time we go through all of this hassle with, you could have followed up with someone for a year and they finally enroll, and then we don't enroll, or we don't train them properly. So we want to make sure that we're training these new distributors we're spending as much time with them as we were trying to get them on as a distributor. So the first thing, guys, when someone joins your team, make sure the first thing that they know to do is get 4 customers. You could even tell them, like, we need to get your 4 customers in the next 72 hours. You can help them come up with a game plan. Honestly, my best suggestion with doing that is to go through the product catalog and to have them write down people that come to mind. Who do you know that could benefit from this? And I'm going to help you come up with messages to contact these people. Work really closely with them. Okay, get their 4 customers. It's mandatory. And you're going to earn a $100 bonus when they get at least just their first 2 in their first 30 days. But that's going to make them bonus qualified. That is very important. And whatever is coming out at a conference, we know they want them ASAP. Especially if they sign up this month, they want to get them within the month of January. Get them on the team pages, get them plugged into trainings, get them to these types of, like our online trainings when we're doing these, because honestly, guys, you've probably heard me say this before, those that show up, go up, but honestly, there's all these people that are on this right now who are plugging into their business. You guys are the ones that are going to be promoting. You guys are the ones that are going to be, honestly, taking this business farther than you ever imagined. The ones that listen to trainings and plug into these and are always growing in their business, those are the ones that keep promoting. So get them plugged into those things. And then personal development, guys, is so huge. For my first few months, I did not do anything to do with personal development. And that's why I just kind of sat there. I didn't really do anything. But honestly, this is a daily requirement for me. I have to do this every single day. I have to, because I have to be pouring into people at all times. I have people constantly needing things from me. You're my leader. I need help with this. I have this struggle. I have this question. I'm doubting. Whatever it is, you are constantly pouring into people. And if your cup is empty, you're going to have nothing to give. And there have been times in my business where I felt like that, where I'd look at my phone and be like, I felt so discouraged. And I'm like, how can I motivate this person right now? And honestly, those times in my life is when I was not doing any personal development. So make sure you're doing something every day, whether it's reading some type of inspirational book, listening to YouTube is my favorite. I listen to YouTube videos all the time, whether it's Tony Robbins, which is like my number 1 go-to because he pumps me up. Find someone that inspires you and do it every single day. You have to. The other thing, I think we all need to decide right now that you're not going to quit, that you don't have a plan B. For me, that was really the solid thing that made me run with this business, because I did not have a second idea. This was plan A. I did not have plan B, C, or D. So if this didn't work, which I knew it had to, that's honestly the difference. It was a must. This had to work. I had to make money fast with this business, and so I did. And so I'm sure you've heard the term before, if you have plan B, plan A will never work. So if you already have a backup plan, or you're already giving yourself an out, like in 3 months, if I'm not Ruby, I'm out. Don't give yourself a way out. Make it so that you will be a forever lifer in this business. Those are the people that will, honestly, you have nowhere to go but up. If you are staying consistent, if you're doing all those things we talked about, you're always adding new people. You're always inviting people to look into this business. You're always constantly following up with new people. Following up with people that you've talked to, I don't care, for a year. Caitlin Wolf is someone that I talked to. We were friends for a year on Instagram. And I made the mistake of taking way too long to reach out to her. She was like, do you know that honestly, for a whole year, I sat there and was like, I want to do this business. And she was even liking my posts, guys. And I did not reach out to her. I was just waiting for people to come to me. And that's why you guys have to be the ones sending the messages, inviting people to look into this business, because I made huge mistakes in my past. I would be so much farther in this business had I have been messaging people first. So I waited for Caitlin. Caitlin was waiting for me to reach out to her. She's like, for a year, I was like, if she just thought I could be good, if she wrote me and said, hey, would you ever be interested in making extra income from home? I think you would be great. She said, if you ever sent a message to me like that, I would have joined that day. I was waiting for a message like that. So do not make that same mistake. And she went diamond really fast, guys. She's going presidential and ambassador this year. Do not wait to send a message. Our job is to invite people to know or let people know that we have another way of living, that we have a way they can own their time, have financial freedom, and make insane amounts of money working from home. And honestly, you guys, if you think of this more as a gift, you have a gift you need to give to people. Make yourself be responsible. Don't give yourself reasons not to share this with people and to be afraid or ashamed of it, because it's the best. Honestly, it's the best thing that ever happened to me and my family. And there's so many people out there looking for something like this, again, that they just don't even know it exists. So that was the information I wanted to share with you guys tonight. I know it's kind of a lot of details. I also will show you, I know some people like to see, this is what I personally do when it comes to, I keep this little thing. I have my planner. Okay, so this is these are the 3 things that I have. Here's my planner. It's massive, but I love it. Okay, so this is my planner. These are the 3 ways that I run my business. But what I do is I have my steps to success right here. Okay, I have my January, I have December's in here still too. So what I do is I really actually print these off. I write them down as I am enrolling customers or distributors. I write down the dates. I write down their ID number. If I moved the customer, I'll write down who I moved them underneath. I write down the day they enrolled and the product they ordered. For me, I'm just old school, and I could put it in my phone, but I put it on paper and I keep it in my little folder. So then I know when I'm supposed to follow up with these people, because I like to follow up with them a few weeks after they joined as a customer. How are you liking your product? And if they are having problems, if they're like, I don't know if I like it, you can make sure that they're, 1, doing it correctly, or 2, you can just suggest other things like, okay, well, what's the issue? You're taking hair, skin, nails, you're feeling sick every time you take it. Make sure you're taking it with food. That's the problem. That's the problem you're running into. I would much rather find out if they're having a problem immediately than wait 3 months later. They didn't even take the product. And they wasted it, and now they have a bad taste in their mouth for our business. You want to find, if they do have a problem, find a solution for them. Help them find a solution. But I like to follow up with them a few weeks after. I follow up with them right before they make their 3rd order, and I let them know how many perk points they have. I let them know, hey, just so you know, if you are loving the product and you order again next month, you're going to get free shipping. If you stay down for just 2 more months after that, you're going to get a $50 perk point shopping spree that you can spend on whatever products you want. So this is when I start giving the perks, but I just keep it all right here. My list, my steps to success. And then when I'm signing distributors, this is how I do it. Okay. So I print off Ruby charts. This is how I keep track of, these are all my distributors from, this is another chart that I'm working on, but these are all my distributors from December and January, okay? So what I do is I'll write their name on a Ruby chart the day they enrolled. I'll write down right here I have loyal customer count, and I put 4, okay? So that I know where they are with their customers. I know what their BV is at. As they're signing distributors, my goal for them is to go Ruby. So that's why I print off a Ruby chart, and then I keep track of their steps on the steps of success as well. So if you guys wanted to know, I don't know how to keep track of everyone, this is personally what I've done for almost 4 years, and it's worked for me every year, and I love doing it this way. For me, this is just the easier way. And honestly, when Stephanie Dunn, one of our Black Diamonds, came out, and this is how she does it too, I was like, okay, that's okay then. I feel like I'm so old school, but hey, if a Black Diamond does it old school still, then I feel okay. But I think, guys, that's it. I don't want this to go way too long, and it's been an hour, and I'm sorry about that. But again, I do have lots of files. The skill file is in there in my team page if you guys want to check that out. And so you guys can start practicing with that. But we are going to, I want you guys to know within the next few weeks, with this whole boom time, we are going to be doing tons of these live webinars for the opportunity. Okay, so you guys can be inviting people. It might even be nightly or every other night so that we can be keeping up with all this, all these new people getting in. I also want to be doing some type of online training almost every single night for brand new distributors. So let's say you sign up a distributor today, they know at 7 o'clock tonight there will be a training. Okay, we're gonna work something out like this where you know that your new distributors are getting trained right. I just want to make sure of that, because when there are massive explosions of new distributors being brought in on a daily basis, where I've seen this happen where like 300 distributors signed up in one day, and it's like total chaos on our pages. I want everyone to be on the same page and make sure everyone gets the same training that the people got when it wasn't a crazy nut house in the team page, okay? So we will have something figured out and planned so you guys know in advance what the next couple weeks are gonna look like, and all the way through like summertime, fall time, okay? So thank you guys so much for plugging in tonight and staying on, and honestly just showing up, because you guys are going to go so far in this business. I'm so excited to see what 2017 has in store for you. So thank you guys for watching, and I will get this recording up ASAP on the team page. Okay, bye.